Whoa, dude. I just have to put the... Oh, shit!
Oh, she's back. No.
The ghost. Okay, anyway, we're back. Oh, thank God no one's in the chat right now. No one saw that.
Hey, look at that. Now they're coming in.
Now someone's in there. You missed the light fall down. So, man. Just to put this out there, this is my second attempt to see this movie. We did see the whole thing. We just got out of Tyler Perry's Acrimony. Laura and I were at this on Friday, and about 15-20 minutes in, we had to take off because I got food poisoning. Not from any Brad Tries episode, especially considering how the last one I shot was on barf soda. No, I had like a chicken wrap from the store earlier that afternoon, and I was fighting that all weekend. So we left like 20 minutes into this movie, and I can't wait to get home and tell her about the pure, absolute fucking madness that she missed from this movie. Describing this movie will be like Ray Stantz from Ghostbusters describing the architect of the building. This is either made by some genius or a fucking wacko.
Probably a bit of both in Tyler Perry's case.
Holy crap. Now, you've probably seen the trailer for this movie, which has the vibe of like it's Tyler Perry trying to do like, I don't know, like it has almost like a David Fincher vibe a little bit, the trailer for the movie does. And we got the trailer for the movie several times. You and I did in front of Proud Mary. Yep. Sarah and I did a number of times, and we were talking about this in the bathroom, where the trailer certainly does show you the plot of the movie to a point. The scenes in the trailer are in the film. They are, but what the trailer doesn't show you is all of the Tyler Perry batshit insanity that is from beginning to end of this 2-hour movie. You would never know from the trailer of this movie that the entire plot hinges on one man's 18-year dream to develop and sell a battery. I had the time of my life at this movie. This is one of my favorite things that I've seen in so long.
When we say 2 hours, it wasn't a long 2 hours. It was it was a very interesting watch.
I was enthralled and fascinated the entire time. I was.
Damn it. We're going down.
The light's falling asleep, but we're not. Whoa, shit, and we're losing.
Oh, God.
Fuck.
Maybe. There we go.
All right. Anyway.
Just don't move.
Yeah. You cursed light. This is the opposite of the God's Not Dead one, where it ended with us with too much light. Some guy pulled in front of us with headlights. We thought it was Jesus. We were way wrong.
You're like, shit. He's finally come to kill us.
Oh, man. So, okay. God damn. I was never, ever, ever bored a single moment in this absolute fascinating study of filmmaking that I just sat through. Now, all right. If you've seen the trailer for the movie, a lot of the trailer is Taraji P. Henson talking to a therapist about basically all the bad shit that her husband, now ex-husband, has done. What you see in the trailer is probably like it's the second scene in the movie. Yeah. And it's a hell of a monologue. Like, a Taraji P. Henson performance is one of the best things that ever happened to a Tyler Perry film. Because she's outstanding in this. And the movie opens with this like Oscar-worthy monologue that she delivers in the film. And so we see that her now ex-husband and his new fiance have issued a restraining order against her, and that's why she's now seeing a therapist. And she goes into this monologue, which you see in the trailer, of all these horrible things that she's done. And then it flashes back 18-20 years when they're in college, played by actors who they couldn't have found two people to look so unlike the two lead characters if they fucking tried. Like, it's right up there with that. I don't think you were at this, but no, Dave and Brian were, when they went to go see that Nick Sparks movie where Luke Bracey played the young James Marston. And I forget, some other girl was like a young Michelle Moynihan. And it's like that. There is never a single moment where you buy that these are the same fucking people that they grow into. It's crazy. And so they're living, they're college students, and they meet and have a relationship and everything. A crazy thing about it is that either of the two younger actresses playing her sisters look more passable as a young Taraji P. Henson than the girl.
That is true, yeah. I don't know. That was kind of weird. Like,
I noticed that when I saw it the other day, too. I'm like, maybe it's the food poisoning, but they don't look anything alike.
Like, she's not in her 20s, but can we not de-age her a little bit? Both of them? Because it's not like they're just old and wrinkly. I mean, they look good. So what, can we not have just used makeup to make them look younger?
Or try to at least
go from there?
Find somebody who's sort of passable. Like, if you think these actors, if you go see this movie and you think these actors look alike, you're racist.
They don't all look alike, man. They don't all look alike.
So they start dating, and he has this dream to build this battery and sell it to some, what kind of agency was this?
I mean, it was a venture, I believe, I mean, the way it's set up, it sounded like they were a venture capitalist firm. Basically buys ideas.
Yeah.
And then puts the work in. It's venture capitalist is what it is. And yeah, he's got an idea for a renewable battery.
Yeah.
That basically can last forever.
It sets the house on fire at one point.
Well, yeah, it does. Because he's using it to run the entire house.
And when she's describing him through this, we get Taraji P. Henson doing narration over this, which is a completely different style of performance than when she was talking to her therapist. It's supposed to, when she's narrating it, it's supposed to be that she's still talking to her therapist. Yeah. But it's a totally different kind of like line. Like, you can tell she's in a booth recording lines for this. And she has like just Tyler Perry lines that are like, he was so dark and dreamy, a perfect package made by the devil. Like, I gave him everything, my love, my life, and my virginity. And whenever they're like on dates, they're like kind of slow walking in place in front of what looks like a green screen.
Yeah, it kind of did, yeah. Like at the bench scene, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of like city green screen work with really tight shots of the actors. And God damn it, there's just so many places to go with this movie. And so it looked like there was a lot of green screen work done there with the actors. And her mom died and left her house. That's what I was getting to. The house in this movie. I've now seen, I might be wrong about this, but I've now seen enough Tyler Perry movies where I'm noticing locations. Like, that house looks exactly like the house from both the Medea Halloween movies. That looks like the den. I know that den because that's where like 80% of the Medea Halloween movies take place. I think. Maybe they just got a similar house. I know Tyler Perry has his own like compound where he shoots a lot of stuff on. but it looked just like the house. It was like watching one of our movies. One of our movies where you just see our houses in each one.
It probably is.
And her sisters immediately hate this guy. Or wait, one sister does. The other one's like the good angel. There's like good angel and bad angel sisters. It's easy to make that comparison because they might as well be Siamese twins, because the sisters are never
apart.
Ever apart. Ever apart.
Nope.
And
if you see one, you see the other one every time.
Like,
every time.
And when they get married, the husbands are also always there. Like, they're traveling in a van to just walk in the door. Like, they all live together and travel in a van. And because she's gotten like $500,000 from her mom, she is then funding a lot of research and experiments that he's doing on this battery. So she's building it up like he's a con artist when she's telling the story. And like it's just draining her. Like, they burn out the wiring in the house, which costs them like $37,000 to fix.
Yeah, I had a little bit. I'm like, what, did you gold plate the copper wiring or something? Because that's pretty expensive. Like, even for an older house, that seems a bit much.
You know,
like, maybe you should have shopped around and got a better deal.
yeah, I think you got screwed.
$37,000 can get you a lot of wiring in a lot of houses.
It's like, I think you're being conned, but not by your husband. And like, he sets the place on fire at one point, or the battery on fire at one point. There were two of my favorite things in this whole like backstory sequence. One, three things. One, when the sister, when young Taraji P. Henson is sitting in the middle of the table, they're all having dinner. The sisters are there with their husbands, and the sisters say to her, because they're all living in their mom's old house, the house they grew up in, and the sisters say to her, like, well, now that we're both married, we're gonna be moving out here soon, so you're gonna have to take care of all this yourself. I'm like, you're still living there? Is this...
They're moving out together, too. I'm like, that's what it was. They're like, oh, we found our own house. We're gonna live together as a two couple. It was very strange.
It was such a strange scene. So they leave this college student in this house that their mom grew up in, and then in the
Here's my thing. She seems like she's the youngest sister.
It seems that way.
Why did the youngest sister get left the house? That seems, I mean, normally, I mean, not always, of course, but generally that kind of stuff gets left to the eldest.
Maybe all three sisters got left the house, but since the two of them got married, they just decided to move out.
I don't.
Maybe it was a clunky piece of exposition when it was in there. By the way, we're married now, so we're gonna move out here in a couple of days.
and maybe we should have realized that she wasn't exactly sane when the one and only time he was caught cheating. She ran her Jeep into his RV and overturned it. Yes,
right after the narration. Right after the narration says, he got to meet another part of me, the bitch, my inner bitch, and my bitch is a motherfucker.
And in the process, basically sterilizes herself.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because she rams into the RV so hard that the steering wheel forces into her, requiring her to have a hysterectomy. A full hysterectomy, which precludes her from ever having children. So now she's all alone with this guy, with no children to speak of, because, you know, fuck adoption. You know? I don't know.
Well, it's okay. It's okay though, because even after she tries killing him by overturning his RV that he's living in, she's like, "I'm sorry, baby," and they're still together, and they get married. And did you notice in the wedding scene how when the sisters straight up say to her, like, "We're not going. We don't like him." So the sisters don't go, and then it cuts to the wedding scene in which there is only one guy sitting like there, but
And then there's a bunch of people after. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you noticed that too?
yes. There's one guy sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I mean, maybe there's stragglers later on, but then all of a sudden, people started filling in. I was like, where did they come from?
You'll ask yourself that in a lot of Tyler Perry movies. Where did they come from? Like, I've asked myself that quite a few times in these movies where there are just people suddenly there in scenes that have already been established. How many people should be there? Like, the way that it is edited, the only way for this many people to suddenly show up is if she walks down the aisle, there's only one guy there. Between that and I do, people suddenly showed up.
That's what we are led to believe in that scene. So
it's so good.
This is unfair to say. Like, it wasn't that we were not entertained by this movie, because we very much are. We're just noticing all of the flaws in the movie, but that didn't keep us from enjoying the film in its own crazy, fucked up way.
Tyler Perry's funniest movies are his dramas. By far and fucking away. This movie is loads more hysterical than any Madea movie I've gone to see.
Oh yeah,
and this isn't a comedy.
No,
this is not a comedy. So, like, 18 years go by in which the husband is now a foot taller because he's played by the older actor. And it's even more obvious when they do this dissolve effect to show them aging, in which they're standing in front of the mirror and it does this transition. It does it like a transition effect where he turns into the older version, she wipes her face and turns into Taraji P. Henson, which just shows you even more so that they don't look any fucking thing alike. Suddenly he turns into a giant.
Yes, suddenly he gained a foot and about 50 pounds of muscle, like straight muscle, because the dude who's playing him young was just skinny as shit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he just beefs up. I'm just like, when the fuck did he become a linebacker sitting around doing nothing all day? Because that's what he does. That's the other thing. He never actually gets a full-time job in these ensuing 18 years. She started working 2 jobs and ended up working as an office assistant for the past 18 years. And he's just sitting in his den lab tinkering away at this battery.
He's still tinkering away at his shit, and there are points where it doesn't feel like it's 18 years that's passed. Like when the company that he's trying to sell this to gets in touch with him and says, "You're not allowed to, this is security. We're tired of getting your letters. You're not allowed to come anywhere near this building anymore." Only took him 18 years to make that call to him.
After he obsessively wrote them letters and sent them videos like every week for 18 years. Two things would have happened. Either they would have broken down or they would have done that a lot sooner. But lucky for him, the one time he cheats on his wife, and it's the person who could get him an interview.
Yeah.
At the venture capitalist firm. What fortuitous circumstance be this?
There are a couple of points where you know exactly where it's going. That being one of them. You know, as soon as she shows up, it's like, okay, this is going to be the girl in the trailer who she's going to be the new fiance. Another point, he starts working for the sister's delivery service. They just walk into the house at one point and break out this plot point of like we need to get all of these things delivered in order to make enough money or else we're gonna lose the business. I'm like, whoa, slow down, I'm only just finding out you have this business. And then
like, come again?
This is after they find out that she mortgaged the house, which was 18 fucking years ago she did this. The sisters are just finding this shit out. And so they hire the husband. They hire him, Bob Gale is his name, by the way. Robert, they call him in the movie. But it's like, oh, well, I know how he's going to get rich. So, they give Robert a job for this delivery company, and this is after he's kind of been talking a little bit to the girl that can like get him an interview to get his product sold. And when they say to him, they're like, all right, Robert, this is our most important delivery ever. The man likes his things there an hour prior. This is our top client. You must make this delivery. And I'm like, okay, he's going to get the fucking phone call. He's going to miss the delivery. He's going to go. He's going to go to the interview. They're going to lose the company. That's exactly what fucking happens.
Well, apparently, aside from losing the company, because that was apparently bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Because later it's seen they're apparently doing fine, or at least they're just living like vagrancies through these various houses. It never really resolves that.
I think they did say like we're allowed to keep the trucks, but we lost our biggest client.
Yeah.
All right, Robert, you must make this delivery, or else the company will explode. It's practical. Or else orphans will die, Robert.
By orphans.
It's craziness. And
the more it like gets away from her narration, the more you start to realize, yeah, he's not a very good husband.
Yeah.
But he's not a bad guy. He just is single-minded and nothing. I mean, if he was like 18. I mean, this is fucking Thomas Edison we're talking about here, basically.
Uh-huh.
Like one of those inventors who's got that single focus, that single track mind, let everything else be damned,
mm-hmm.
and his marriage falters because of it. And you get the idea that he does feel bad. Like, he doesn't want to lose his wife. He doesn't want to cause her pain. Because unlike some guys, that one time where she nearly killed him with her Jeep was enough to get the point across that he doesn't want to fuck with her.
Yeah. She straight up says to him later in the movie, he's like, baby, I'm sorry, but they're going to see me at this company. Our dreams might come true. And she looks at him and goes like, you are fucking with the devil or something. Like, fuck me, man. I about shit my pants in that fucking theater. I thought I had food poisoning again.
And then in the course of also losing that delivery, they also find the other woman's
her
clutch,
wallet.
Her wallet in his truck.
Yeah.
So that leads them to believe that he is cheating again.
Uh-huh.
Which actually turns out to not be the case.
Yeah.
Normally you'd see that and go, uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
Go get him, Taraji. But
yeah.
No, he actually did not cheat. He was actually legitimately trying to get his invention,
it was kind of a dick move on the part of the company. Like, on the part of the company, when they call him as he's making a delivery and they go like, you can see him. Has to be in an hour.
But they set that up early in the movie. They said, when he calls, it's a lottery, and when he calls, you drop everything and run.
Okay.
So I mean, it was
all
like
right.
he did say that early in the movie when he was first trying to get this interview.
What if you're having surgery?
Get you fucked.
No, my new heart invention. I'm just putting the prototype in.
So he ends up fucking them all over. But in the meantime, he gets good news. Well, kind of. They offer him $800,000 to just sell his invention outright. But being the man of vision that he is, turns them down because he wants to keep the IP. He doesn't want to sell it to another company, which is understandable after, spending 18, 20 years of your life developing this.
Yeah.
He's probably pretty reluctant just to give it up just for $800,000 because he's smart. He knows exactly how much it's worth.
He knew to do that because he watched the Toys That Made Us series on Netflix.
He's like, fuck that, $800,000 is nothing.
You are right that when it breaks away from her narration, which is probably at like the 90-minute point when the movie decides to start having chapters.
Yeah.
Out of fucking nowhere.
If you ever need a thesaurus help, this movie's got you, because every time a word flashes across the screen, it gives you the thesaurus of, what it means, different other words.
I now know what deranged means. So,
Oh shit.
and yeah, I about leaned over to you and went like, is it just me, or is this guy like not really evil?
No.
Like, I mean, he's aloof and like
he was not a very good husband for those 18 years. No, he wasn't. But was he a bad guy? Absolutely not. Like he was trying his best to get this off the ground because he wanted to make it, and he actually wanted to give her all the things he promised her when he was first trying to make it.
I kind of like how Tyler Perry almost did like a switcheroo on that, because if you've seen, even look, I've only seen maybe like 4 or 5 of his movies. I wouldn't consider myself an expert necessarily, but if you've seen even a small amount of his movies, you know that the kind of guy that Robert plays in this is usually the kind of guy who is evil in Tyler Perry movies, and to kind of pull the rug out and show that, I mean, and to show that, like, okay, this isn't like the con man that you're kind of told he was at the beginning of the movie, when he does end up getting like $250 million, which he fucking deserves for having to spend 20 years with those fucking sisters.
And after she basically kicked him out and said, I want a divorce.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, like, at the divorce table, like, at the mediation, is trying his damnedest to not lose her. Like, he's being as sincere as he can be, and she's having none of it.
And her sisters are also there during this.
Yeah, the sisters are there. And it was like, I don't think that's how mediation works. I'm pretty sure there's a...
That is one thing that comes up in a lot of Tyler Perry movies. If you're reviewing them, you will somehow use the phrase, I'm not sure that's how this works.
That's not how mediation works. That's not how biology works. No. So anyway, he reluctantly signs the papers, ends up living for a while in like a halfway house.
Yeah, washing dishes.
And then he finally gets a call, because they're trying to reset this deal up. They're talking back and forth a little bit. So he gets a call from the other woman. Well, she finds out that he's living in a halfway house. She's like, no.
Yeah.
So she brings him to her house and gives him draws him a bath and tries to be nice to him, because she realizes this invention is going to make a shit ton of money, and she legitimately wants to help him.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's not a relationship. It's a friendship. It's I like you. I know who you are. I want to help you.
And I buy it that it does turn into a relationship.
Oh yeah.
I totally buy that that's what happens, because like I said, he never did cheat on his wife after, I mean, other than the part where she almost ran over him with a Jeep. But,
and they weren't married at the time. So it was early on in their relationship, and then she decided, like, he came to her and said, hey, look, I only love you. It was just sex, you know, which is, understandably, that's the kind of line somebody like that would say.
Yeah.
But as you go through the movie, you realize he actually meant it. And he has stayed true to her throughout their marriage.
And whenever they do get when it's after they get divorced that he gets like $250 million, and he does actually a pretty noble thing. He goes to her because he knows that, like, he's put this woman through like 18 years of hell.
Here's the great thing. She kept a running total of how much he owed her.
It flashes it on the screen.
Yes. She knew it down to the pennies how much she spent pursuing his dream.
Yeah.
Like, it was like something like $1.2 million.
Yeah.
And it was just like, so wait a minute. So this wasn't really love, this was a business transaction, is what you're saying. After a while, it was just let me get through this so I can get my money. I want to get paid.
Oh, and he gives her more than that. He pays her back. He gives her $10 million.
buys her mother's house back for her.
Yeah.
And she immediately she's like, fuck.
Oh, she goes in one of my favorite scenes in it. She goes to the two sisters, like, look at this, $10 million. I knew I shouldn't have fucking listened to you.
Yeah.
You put all those bad thoughts in my head, and I left my husband because of you. And then the good sister's like, I didn't think he was that bad. And then
and the husbands are like, man, I knew he was gonna hit that.
I knew he was gonna hit that jackpot someday.
And
And
the
the guy who she was sleeping with, who I guess they're seeing each other now, was there, and she goes, and you, get out of my house. You're bad in bed. You have a tiny dick. It shows them.
But the line was, nobody who's that big should have a dick that small.
That's it. Yeah.
Which is actually kind of a fantastic line.
It shows them fucking earlier, and she's like, he's nothing like my husband who knew every inch of my body.
He knew I liked it a little bit to the left.
He knew I liked it a little bit to the left. She's describing practically this porn between her and her husband, but it really never shows them intimate with each other at all through the movie.
Which it sounds like, based on her description, they were intimate quite a bit up until close to the very end.
But it never
never
feels
shows
like
it.
that.
No, it's
ever.
It feels like two people living together. And one of them is a deadbeat roommate.
Yeah, who is sleeping downstairs and playing with his batteries. So he even, like, as far as the ex-husband goes, like, all right, this should be done, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I get the house back, I paid her $10 million. All right. And then it goes psychological stalker thriller on us, in which she goes to his fancy, like, Frasier apartment now, and that's when you see this in the trailer, when she finds out he has a new fiance, and it's that girl, and she starts just immediately stalking them to the point to where she's leaving her, like, what was it, like
3,300 messages,
like
on social media,
nasty troll comments and everything, and she puts acid in her wedding dress. She walks into the dress, she burns the dress, and like the next day the wife's like, sorry, it didn't fit me that well anyway.
Yeah, because she's pregnant.
Yeah, it turns out she's pregnant.
Oh no, that was the wrong thing to do. But where does one go to buy what looked to be a half-gallon jug of sulfuric acid? Like,
well, she's got $10 million now.
I know, but you just don't buy that on the street. Like, that's... like, did she bribe a science teacher? Just like, hey, give me some of that.
Yes.
And it wasn't like it was like a repackaged. It was the original container with the warning labels.
Yeah.
So you could clearly read sulfuric acid.
It might as well have had a skull and crossbones on it.
Actually, it probably did. Somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things. But
she just pours that shit in there. When she gets the restraining order, she doesn't even wait to get out of the building. She instantly runs after him in the lobby of the courtroom and live streams it on Facebook.
Oh, and the best part, the sisters start to actually go against her.
Yeah.
They bring him back to the house to talk about, look, you need to get some protection. And he's like, no, I know her. She's going to be fine.
I know her. She'll get over it.
No, she's not. Like, you need armed guards at your wedding. And he's like, what? No, I'm not going to do that. Yes, you do.
You see the trailer for Proud Mary? She's going to fuck you up. The movie's kind of lame, but watch the trailer for Proud Mary. So, yeah, and then like, her lawyer, whoever, walks...
She does try to sue him, though, in the meantime.
Oh!
That was, she sues them.
I want half. But this happened after you got divorced. Yeah. I want half. He gave you $10 million. No, I want more. Get out of here. By the way, Your Honor, we also want a restraining order.
I mean, everything that happens, it just becomes, you're just like, man, this guy's really okay, and he's getting shit on. Like, maybe it was a little dickish to start seeing the woman that he slept with all this year, but it wasn't like it was immediate. Like, it was just one of those progressions where they because she worked for that venture capitalist firm. They were seeing each other, talking, becoming friends, and it happened. It progresses like that because that's how life is. But she was having none of it.
There was a while because, like, man, Tyler Perry movies are weird. So, like,
it didn't happen, like, the next day, because you don't just buy that apartment.
No,
like,
no.
Like,
yeah.
it was a while. And enough to where she knew she was pregnant. I mean, months had passed after she told him to take a hike. And he basically was like, please don't do this, you know.
There was a while when I was sitting there like, I don't know if this movie knows she's the villain. Like, even though there's scenes where her bedroom is just lit blood red and she's dancing around like she's Eartha Kitt auditioning for the 60s Casino Royale, like with these transition effects and her crazy hair just going all like that and smoking. And then when it started playing sinister music over her, then I was like, okay, now I think the movie now knows that this is a thriller and she's the villain. Then when she went after him with the axe later, I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, we went full Fatal Attraction on this fucking shit.
Hard fucking core it does.
Like her sisters come to the house and there's like pictures with X's over the eyes everywhere. And it's just like, she needs fucking help.
They have to contain her in the house on his wedding day, and the brothers are just sitting out back playing cards like, hey, you're not getting out here. The sisters have her car boxed in, but the fucking idiots, no one's actually in the house watching her because they're just standing by the doors. So she immediately gets out of one of the windows and somehow gets on board their boat. Their yacht in I think the middle of the ocean.
I mean, maybe. I mean, because it's Pittsburgh, so it could have been one of the rivers that they're just kind of...
Yeah.
But, well, because it was kind of nice, though. It would have had to have been, because there's no way she'd get... It would have had to have been in a local area. But they're on a body of water where they're nowhere near land.
They are fucking nowhere near land. She comes out of there with a gun, makes all the crew members just jump for all they know to their fucking deaths. Like, she turns into a fucking pirate and practically makes them walk the fucking plank. She has a good, like, everyone jump off this boat in the middle of the night where there might be fucking sharks in the water. Okay. It's insane. She shoots him and then starts chasing him with an axe. And there is this death scene at the end. And the way that it is edited is so... It's like, I know what happens, but it's so confusing how it's edited. Almost like that last confrontation in the house at the end of The Snowman, where... It's like, I think I know what happened, but I'm not sure how exactly it happened. He gets stabbed with the axe. It took me a second to figure out where. I had to ask you, actually, like, where did he get stabbed with the axe with the CGI blood popping up? She gets dragged under the boat by the anchor and drowns from being chained to the anchor underneath the boat. You just see her body just flop off the side of the fucking boat as the anchor goes down. It's madness.
And to the end, he is still trying to... He tries to save her. He's trying to crawl... Like, she tried to kill him, but he's still trying to save her.
Yeah.
Like, it just shows you just how bad she got. And he was just that much better for being like, you know what? No, I can't let her die. I'm going to die probably, but I'm going to try and grab her. As he's hobbling across to the edge of the boat and just bleeding out.
It is just... Whoa. I want to watch this movie again.
This was fun.
This was crazy. Tyler Perry has just found the right kind of bad madness, just pure, just craziness on screen. It is. I've only seen a handful of his movies, but this is absolutely by far and away the most entertaining fucking movie he's done. It is. Oh, I only wish the same audience was here when we saw it, when I saw, then in the first 20 minutes when I saw it on Friday, because the audience that was there last Friday was an audience that was talking along with this movie, where it was.
I had someone behind my ear
Oh, yeah?
going, that girl done snapped. And I'm like, chasing him down the yacht with an axe. You think? Maybe?
That girl done snapped.
That girl. And then, in the middle of it, before you start to realize that he's actually not a bad guy, like, girl, that boy's bad. Like, I'm just like, yes. Yes, he is.
I didn't hear any. Unfortunately, I didn't hear any of that.
It wasn't like super loud.
Okay.
There was no way I don't think you would have heard it because it was behind me and off to my right.
I've had that happen before where like I hear something but like Sarah or Dave don't. The other day, it was like every other person in the audience. This was a Friday night. It was like every other person in the audience the other day. Like in the line where she's saying the line about like he's dark and handsome, packaged just like the devil or whatever. There was a lot of
honey chop, girl
from the audience. Like,
know it, girl.
I wish that audience came back to see this tonight, but because it actually was probably just as crowded in there tonight as it was on Friday, but it was just way more vocal.
Yeah, it was
the other
decent.
night.
I mean, like of the movies like we've seen like during this, like we've gone to movies the opening night that weren't as busy as that. Like that was actually a pretty decent crowd for Tuesday night.
Y'all should go see this movie. Like seriously, like I can't. There's nothing I can compare this movie to. Usually I can compare something to anything. This one, not really. Honestly, like it's the trailer of this movie. Suggests that this is a more maybe polished is the right word, or it suggests that it's a more mature movie than it is. Maybe it suggests more a tone of Gone Girl.
Yeah. Like the Sweet Vengeance type role as opposed to the just batshit crazy.
Yes, whoever cut together that trailer is a genius. So, if you need to see that, you guys need to see this fucking movie. Seriously, I had the time of my fucking life in that theater. I haven't had this much fun at a bad movie since like Dancing It's On. Tyler Perry needs to only do R-rated thrillers from now on. Please.
As long as it's Taraji P. Henson. Though.
Oh, she is great in this movie.
Yeah, she's a staple now.
Yeah.
You have her on speed dial, Tyler. Just
so many other actors would have just gone through her role, just like sleepwalking through it, or maybe acting in a way that seems like they kind of know the kind of movie that they're in, or they're sort of like, just kind of do whatever in this. Taraji P. Henson is acting like she's out for an Oscar for this movie. It is amazing how great she is in this film.
The range she shows in this movie, from just beat down to mad as hell, to sad, depressed. It's so...
Sometimes all in the same scene.
Yeah, like,
sometimes that opening monologue she has moments that are sad, scary, and also like funny moments for the audience as well. For the audience to kind of talk back to a little bit. Her performance is so good in this. It's part of what makes the movie there's a lot of things that make this movie entertaining, but what even elevates it beyond that is to just see how fucking bonkers she goes in this film. This movie ends with Taraji P. Henson chasing her now rich husband with an axe, and she is selling this shit.
I do say, like, they kind of hit you over the head with it, though, at one point when she's talking to the shrink, and she goes, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a thing called borderline personality disorder?
Oh
And
yeah.
it's just like,
I don't want to hear that
and
shit.
I'm done. And she walks out.
I'm done here.
I'm like, no, maybe you should listen to her because you clearly exhibit signs that this is what's happening to you.
Yeah.
And maybe you should get some help.
I
You just got $10 million.
yeah, exactly.
Like, what? No, I understand that you feel like he has wronged you, and in some ways probably has, but not in the way that you're thinking. And the fact that he gave you anything, which even the judge said, look, he didn't have to give you a dime.
gave you $10 million.
He gave you $10 million, which is almost 10 times what you originally claimed he had owed you.
Yeah.
And you still go after him.
And she tried telling him to take the first deal they offered, which was for $800,000. Like,
Yeah.
no, baby, I can't. Like, get out. We're getting divorced.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because he didn't take the deal, and because she thought, well, mostly because she thought he was cheating. But the whole $800,000. Well, at first she thought it was a lie,
Yeah.
kind of. But
Is
then,
this the bullshit you're feeding me?
yeah. But then I think she started to believe. Okay, well then why didn't you take this deal? You know, we're gonna lose the house.
Yeah.
You know, so I can understand how she was admittedly pissed off after having this 18-year pipe dream. Be like, oh, we may actually finally see something out of it. Then yes, take the deal.
Yeah.
And then when he didn't, that was the last straw. But then you can't be that pissed off when he makes it big. It's not his fault you gave up 2 months too soon.
You missed all of this.
You know, it's like those stories you hear about people breaking up and then the other party wins the lottery like the next day. You can't make this shit up. It happens, but you can't be pissed. I mean, you can be pissed, but you don't have a valid reason to be pissed about it.
Do like Taraji does in this movie. Show up with an overcoat on and nothing underneath it.
Just some skimpy lingerie. Hey, baby.
I love you now.
Yeah. Remember how I said I didn't want you? Now you got money.
Earlier in this, I
Panties
mentioned
dropped.
like that I was gonna go home and say like I gotta tell Laura about what she missed when we only saw 20 minutes of it the other day. I can't. She's just gotta
She's
go
gonna
with.
see it.
She's just gotta see. I can't spoil anything for her about this movie. I love this fucking movie. This is just my kind of like trash, honestly.
Oh, man.
So my final thought on this is, yes, definitely go see this. It'll hit. There is so much craziness on screen here. It'll hit the sweet spot for you somewhere. Tyler Perry has made his masterpiece. This is like
I hope not, because I want more of this.
this movie is like if Tyler Perry's Temptation just snorted 10 lines of cocaine. They practically have the same poster. The poster for this movie is even insane. It's like this silhouette of her with snake Medusa hair coming out of it. The poster for Temptation was kind of similar, where it was a snake shaped like an apple eating itself. Because, sure.
This has nothing to do with Ouroboros. What the fuck?
Any other final thoughts about this?
This movie was insane.
Yeah.
Not in the bad way though. Like it was the fun way where it's like,
Yeah.
you know what? This doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to enjoy this ride because of just how balls to the wall it gets.
Yeah, I was. That's a great way of putting it, honestly. Like, it's.
Like there's stuff in there you're just gonna go, no, what? No.
Uh-huh.
But then, oh, okay, this is all right. I'll give you credit for going this route.
But then the Siamese twin sisters will show up. They have to be Siamese twins. You can't
Something.
convince me otherwise.
They're just like conjoined at the ankle or something. 'Cause it's like,
All right. Well, I'm gonna be. I think A Quiet Place comes out this weekend. I can't remember what else, but I'm gonna be gone tomorrow morning. Heading to Albany. Come see us at Empire State Con. We'll be there all weekend long.
should be an interesting panel, to say the least.
To put it lightly.
If you do go, please record it because I'm not gonna be able to go. I just want to see what happens. So if you could record it for posterity and then just let me know how it goes.
I'm sure that'll be.
Oh,
One of them will be Laura holding the camera. I'm sure. So
yeah, that's.
it's a 3-hour panel. Holy shit. No, so we'll be there all weekend long. Come check us out then. I don't know if I'll have time to see any movies while I'm up there. I got a giant layover tomorrow, but